What's up, and welcome everybody to another episode of Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I'm your host, Piers Austin, and we are brought to you by Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance on Facebook and on YouTube. Go check us out, click subscribe, and do all that other good shit, as we like to say. But tonight I'm joined by a very, very special guest. She is one of the hottest up-and-coming pro wrestlers on the scene today here in Australia, wrestling for the PWA. But before we get into my interview with Ms. Kingsley, I just want to take a quick moment, a quick second, if you will, to thank some sponsors for helping out for this show, making it possible to do this show every single week. First off, I'd like to thank Mayan Belts. Now, Mayan Belts are the best championship belt makers in the business. If you want a custom championship belt or a replica of your favorite championship belt, hit up Eddie and Ira Williams on all the Facebook groups that have all the belts going in them, guys. You won't be disappointed. They make an amazing belt. They also have special payment plans where you can pay it off for as little as $25 to $30 per paycheck until the belt is paid off. That's insane. But my next sponsor is A-Rock Design. So A-Rock Designs is a company run by my good friend Ashley Rodriguez. So she makes all these custom wrestling cups that you see floating around out there. She makes cups, hoodies, keychains, you name it, she makes it. She made me this very special CM Punk custom tumbler, and I absolutely love it. You will not believe it. Now, my last sponsor for the evening, I can't leave him out, is Signal Studios. Signal Studios is a recording studio based in Sydney, Australia. If you're a professional wrestler, you need some new entrance music, you hit up my boy Rafi. He'll be able to make something for you from scratch, master it, and send it straight out to you. Or if you just want some music to write some lyrics, hit up Rafi. He'll be able to hook you up. He'll be able to send you out an amazing beat. Or if you just need a place to rehearse, go and hit him up there. But guys, also, you may notice that I'm wearing something very special tonight. It is where our Pro Wrestling Tea Store has opened up, and I have got on the Shooting the Shit Uncensored shirt, and it is absolutely amazing. I love it. So head over to our Pro Wrestling Tea Store. You'll see the banner running across this whole interview. You can also pick up other shirts such as 2020 Wrestling from our wrestling game show, our MWA black and silver logo, and also the shirt that I really didn't want, but I was outvoted and has actually been our hottest seller, is our anime shirt. My God, no one should have a shirt with my face on it, but God, the rest of them look absolutely beautiful. But guys, without further ado, I'm going to bring her out, the lady that you have all come to see, Ms. Kingsley. How are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you for bearing with me of 3 minutes of plugging sponsors and everything like that. So we just had to get that out of the way. But how's your day and evening been, Kingsley?
It's been pretty chill. I just work at home and I get through that. I bought my dog a new bed, so she's pretty happy with that at the moment. So yeah, it's been a good day so far. How's yours?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. What sort of dog do you have?
I have a Jack Russell. So her name's Kelly. She's about 14 years old. She's an old girl, so she needs extra tender love and care. But yeah, no, she's happily snoozing at the moment with her new bed. So yeah.
There you go. Happy dog, happy life. So
right.
Absolutely. So look, Kingsley, getting into it, we've actually been speaking for the last few days, just going back and trying to organize the interview. So thank you so much for giving up your time to come and speak to me and to sit down here and speak to our audience as well, essentially. So just looking into your career, you started wrestling, and you were trained by the PWA school, correct? And that's where you still currently work out and crone the skills a little bit more?
Yeah, day in, day out. PWA has always been my home. When did I start? 2017 was my tryout. So I tried out. I was one of two girls out of like a bunch of guys. It was myself and Frankie B. And and we're still here today with PWA as our home.
Absolutely. So were you a fan of wrestling growing up, or was it something that, came to you much later as you got older?
Yeah, definitely when I was growing up. I'm the cliche little sister of an older brother. He was into wrestling. He had the Nintendo games like No Mercy. Basically, yeah, we would just watch it together. I think our earliest memory was just, I think it was something to do with like Wolfpack, and they were just beating up a bunch of guys. But like that was a very, very, very early memory. But then fast forward to primary school, when like 2005 was like the big boom of wrestling with like Matt Hardy and Edge, Lita, the whole scandal of that
Yeah.
triangle. Batista was the man; he's still the man. And yeah, it was just a big thing that came back, and I kind of stuck with me ever since.
Yeah, wow. So you actually made me show like I'm just sitting there showing my age then, because when you said the wolf pack and you were really, really little, I was like, I was in high school at that time and I'm really old now. But no, I'm just teasing. No, I'm just teasing. But so you mentioned like Edge, Leader, they come a couple of your main influences growing up that sort of attracted you into the world of pro wrestling?
Yeah, definitely. I believe I'm pretty sure Matt Hardy is definitely my favorite wrestler. He's definitely someone who's always tried to be consistent with his involvement in wrestling. He's always trying something new, but he's always so engaging. And Lita is just, she was always the different girl. And I always felt like I was different when I was growing up. So she was the reason why I dyed my hair red after high school. And she was always doing the moonsaults. And I was like, damn, I wish I could do a moonsault. Still can't do a moonsault. Don't think I ever will. But it's nice to see someone who can do a nice little pretty moonsault like Lita. So yeah, and then I always liked the divas as well. I've always had an appreciation for the divas. So Melina, even watching people like Gail Kim, being a half Filipino, it was nice to see Asian representation in a female wrestler like Gail Kim. So yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you mentioned leader and being that grungy kid, and I think that really for that time as well, inspired a generation of grungy kids to really sort of get into wrestling, and not just grungy, but, alternate sort of, kids growing up. And I was the same as a teenager. I was very alternate. And to me, that's what sort of attracted me to that sort of style and those sort of characters. But, even Matt Hardy, he definitely has evolved over time. I apologize. But, yeah, so you mentioned your brother and you watched wrestling growing up. Did your brother end up getting into wrestling as well with you, or?
Funnily you say that. He did have a brief stint with PWA training, but then he kind of just realized, you know what, maybe this isn't for me, and that was his decision, and he moved on to something else. So he's a magician now. So sorry, Mum, you got a bunch of black sheep for kids. She's people like, why don't you become a doctor, Tara? Oh, sorry, Kingsley. Why don't you become a, this and that, and yes, I kind of just went with wrestling, and then my brother kind of went with magic. So he's doing well. He's done like Sydney Fringe festivals recently. He's done a lot of shows independently as well. So yeah, he's doing well for himself, and I guess I am too.
Oh, absolutely. And you mentioned you started in 2017 and coming into obviously starting to train in PWA. What was it like having those first matches and all those first training sessions going into the PWA training school? And how was the conversation with mum and dad telling them about wanting to become a wrestler?
Okay, so first of all, number one, it hurt a lot. Just that first bump, I feel like everyone hears the same story. The first bump hurts the most, but it's so true because, oh my God, it feels like a car crash. It really does. You just hurt for days, but our coaches keep telling us, like, once you keep doing it, you get used to it, and it becomes natural and normal. As opposed to my parents, though, they didn't think it was natural or normal for the longest time. In fact, I actually kept it a secret from them for months, actually. So, yeah, I was, because my mum's a tiny little Filipino lady who, prays a lot and all that, believes in the angels, and my dad's just a straightforward, work hard kind of guy, and very old fashioned. So he always believes in protect your little girl. She can't get hurt, but sorry. Sorry, Dad. Sorry, Mum. It took me a while before telling them that I actually was a pro wrestler or training to be one. And they did not like
Yeah,
it.
I can imagine the conversation with what you just described being quite intense. But did it take him a while to come around to it, or was it like that conversation you really swayed him into knowing that that's what you wanted to do?
Yeah, it took him a while. I think once they knew there were other girls, especially myself and Frankie B hanging out a lot, they started realizing, oh, there's actually other girls with Kingsley. Sorry, I'm going to say my shoot name a lot. Sorry, but
No, you're right. You can say your shit name.
everyone knows my shoot name, anyways. It's been on that New Japan commercial, anyway. But yeah. So yeah, my parents, I think it took them a while. I think when they came to my first debut show with PWA, I think it was called Arms last year, with all the girls in the multi-man match. I think they just realized, like, oh, my daughter's cool. It was really funny because I got on the apron and then Max Watts is massive and like everyone's just looking at you. But I looked up and I just see this little beret that my mum always wears, and you just see her peering out, and she gets her little phone doing this, just filming. And I was like, oh yeah, hey mum. So yeah, no, I think my she's a bit of a mark for me. So
As she should be. As she should be. She got her Kingsley shirt on when she comes out to watch you wrestle, and
yeah, she's really funny. I always show her little clips of me doing my big moves and everything, and she's like, she does the little like, oh reaction. My dad's like, huh, yeah. So I think they're okay with it now.
were either of them fans of the business before you got into it?
Yeah, you know what? I think they always bring up this thing where like all their friends, or like they would see it on TV, back in the day, or like their friends would see it at a show. But yeah, I don't know if they were actually fans, like big fans. They just knew it was a thing, and they were like accustomed to it at the time. But I don't think they realized that their daughter would actually become a pro wrestler. So I think that was the shock to the system. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but if my daughter comes to me and says, "Dad, I want to be a pro wrestler," I'd be proud as hell. So, but I'm a big wrestling fan though, so could be different. But
yeah,
you mentioned. Sorry, so you mentioned taking the first bump and it really hurting. Was there ever any point during that training where you just went, maybe I'll just sit on this side of the guardrail and cheer, or was it like was it perseverance for you to go, no, I'm going to keep going and going and going?
It's both. It's a mixture of both. Wrestling is so hard. From the moment you walk into the tryout to like the moment you walk out, from your match, it's hard. You have to really believe in yourself and believe everyone that you're in that ring with. So yeah, multiple times I've cried. I think Shaz always makes a joke about it, like it's a ritual for you to break down in the bathroom during a session. If you haven't broken down in the bathroom, you're not a real wrestler. So, but yeah, many times I wanted to give up, but like I've given up so much to get to this point, so why would I give up now? That's what I always tell myself. So I don't want to be anything else, and I don't want to do anything else. This is me as a person. I am a professional wrestler. I don't want to identify as anything else. So that's what keeps me going.
And that's the thing. I mean, if things were easy, like becoming a pro wrestler was easy, then there would be a lot more pro wrestlers in the world. I think every fan would get in there and do it. And and I've got a lot of respect for anyone that gets in there and puts their body through that, because it is a tough industry, and especially for mentally and physically draining on you guys. So you definitely have my respect to be able to go through and persevere through that. But once you sort of, were trained up enough to start wrestling, when was it the moment that you sort of started to get those first matches? Was it sort of that your trainers coming to you and saying, hey, I think it's time that you get in that ring and give this a go in a live crowd? Or was it like, hey, you putting your hand up?
Definitely was approached. I wanted to prolong as much as I could. However, I still think I got in quite quickly, but I feel like it was still the right time, because I worked on a character for myself, even though she's not the same person as she was when she started off. I was very into creating a character for Kingsley, and being this bratty, outspoken, annoying person at the start. And I feel like with that character, that got me on a show quite quickly. But also, I still try to as much as I can. But back then, when I first started, I did privates like nearly every week with Mick Moretti, and without Mick Moretti, especially just giving up his time and just to teach me everything outside of a normal session, I don't think I would have gone on to a show as quickly as I did. So Madison approached me, and I feel like she trusted me enough. So if she trusts me, that means the rest of the coaches trusted me to be in that first match at Nui. So yeah, it was definitely an approach, but I feel like they saw something in me at least, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, no, look, and I've seen a few of your promos, and we are talking about your promos before we went live, and some of the promos that you've done, like the one with the tea kettle and the tea going into it, and the delivery in it. And I will post the link to that YouTube clip so everyone can go check it out later. But tell us, what was the making of that promo, because you were telling me before it was like so much time and effort went into it, and to be honest, it was an amazing promo.
Oh, thank you very much. That is definitely my favorite promo. Like especially trying to evolve my characters well with the times. But that was for my match with Kellyanne at Rampage early in the year in January. And I was just like, man, I really need something short, succinct, and just tell everybody in Adelaide that I'm a bad bitch and I'm coming for Kellyanne and we're going to beat each other up. Because that's a new audience. I needed to educate them somehow of who I am as a character. And I just wanted to be that someone to hate, pretty much.
Yeah. Like that real evil heel.
Yeah, because Kellyanne, love her to death, and she's loved in Rampage. So just wanted to be that complete opposite to her, at least. But getting into the promo, wow, that was PTSD, because that was a long night. I'm very fortunate that my work has offered me the space to film that promo. They had a green screen, a big space to just have all your stuff and gear in. Ben Anderson and his crew just had all the time and patience for me and just to film this promo. And basically, it took more time to film the cup dropping into the water with the red than it was to actually do the speaking part. So it took 15 minutes or less to do the speaking part. It took hours to drop a cup in the water. And I say that because it was a lot of trial and error. We just didn't like how the ink flowed in one, or it just didn't go like slow enough or fast enough with the drop. Multiple trips to the bathroom, carrying this aquarium tank of water, pouring it out, refilling it, bringing it back in the studio, dropping the cup again, going, that's not right, doing the whole process again multiple times. And it got to a point where it got to midnight, and this is from filming from, I would say, 6:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of trial and error, a lot of lighting adjustments. It's just for 3 minutes or less, So you got to respect people in the filming industry and just how much they do just for 3 minutes.
That's the thing. Like, not many people know how much time goes into the back end of that. Like, a 3-minute clip took X amount of hours for you to be able to pull off. But how much creativeness did you have involved in putting all that together? Were you sort of like the one mapping everything out, or did they say, okay, this is what we're thinking? What are your ideas here?
Usually I come with a core idea, and like I give them ideas, like maybe even storyboards, a script that I write, and just the general feeling of how I want to convey myself. And Ben Anderson and his team, they're amazing because they have degrees in this the film industry, so they know how to bring your ideas to life. They'll go, oh, I saw this in this reference, maybe we can turn that into this in your promo. So a lot of film and movie references, a lot of shots that we look at. It's a long, lengthy process. I'm very I guess, OCD when it comes to promos. I need to have, like, I know the angles. I know, like, I want, like, specific lighting or just anything like that. Other people might be different. Maybe they'll be like, hey, I have no idea what to do. What are your ideas? You know, that's someone else, you know, and they'll be the right guys to provide those ideas. But with me, especially with this promo, it was definitely a core idea and a mixture of, like, everyone just putting it in. So, yeah.
Well, the most important thing in the promo, the words that you said, and, you know, was that something that you had thought up in your mind what you're going to say, or was that like cameras rolling and you just started shooting on that? Like, not shooting as in the shoot, but like, did you just start off the cuff of your head?
Unfortunately, I don't have, I feel like I'm not that talented in just speaking a promo. I need to sit down, write it down, and think of everything, every line, how to convey it. So it was definitely myself and Ben Anderson just thinking of, like, hey, I like this line. How can we work around that line? I definitely wanted, and that's the T, to be a very, like, not just a sassy, like, throwaway line, but like, and that's the T, has to mean something. And telling, like, the story, telling, like, the audience, like, hey, I'm going to do this to Kellyanne, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's the T, you know, just being very vindictive and very, like, forceful with my usual punchline, but in a way that I never usually use it in. So yeah, I'm trying to evolve the character but still be the same character at the same time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that's the wise way of really sort of evolving a character, is just doing those subtle little nuances to it every once in a while to sort of spice it up a little bit. But we actually have the question coming up that I was actually planning on asking. Thank you, Kyle, for already jumping on it. But he said, how did you come up with "that's the T"? And that, funnily enough, was one of my questions I wanted to ask. So please, why don't you tell us?
Thanks, Kyle, for that question. And that's the T. It's a quote that's very popular, I guess. It's very, very sassy, very it's sort of like, it's Bible. Like, what I'm saying is Bible, and it's a cultural thing. People use it all the time, especially at the time when I was building this character. I just wanted that sass, you know, and that was a very sassy line. And plus, I like tea. If you ever come to my house, my mum and I, oh my gosh, tea fanatics. We cannot get enough of tea. There's a whole kitchen full of tea. So we have boxes of tea, so we'll cover you. But basically, yeah, I just want to put myself, like I said, put myself into the character as much as I can, but also be an alternate version of myself, I guess. And that's the T, sort of like when I saw it and just saying it, it felt right, because it was me, but it was also relevant to what was happening in the world and what was I guess what everyone was saying and what everyone could recognize, I guess. So yeah.
I quite liked it. I like the catchphrase, and like, I'm really going to show my age again, because I never heard of that reference. So, you know, like I said, I'm old, so I'm not going to hold anything against it, but that's the T. And, you know, we were talking about promos though, like, how long did it, because, you know, in your promos, you come across very confident, very, like, just on point with it. You know, how long did it take you to really sort of get to that level, or have you always been a very confident person when sort of, you know, speaking in front of people?
Oh, bit of both. Because, like, sometimes I'm not the most confident. I guess most of the time I'm very scared of things in wrestling. And I guess Kingsley is sort of a girl that I aspire to be. Always very confident and just very on the point. And you know what? I do come across, like, sometimes as, you know, I know what I'm talking about, and, you know, but sometimes I have my days where I'm just like, who am I? You know, what am I doing? You know, yeah, it's a bit of both. Yes.
But I think that's what makes you human as well. Because, like, even, like, I'm sure the top stars in the business have those days where they're just like, well, I don't really feel like The Rock today. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it can happen with everybody. But, you know, one of the matches I did see of yours that you were involved in was a match, I think it was 2018, where Tessa Blanchard was actually wrestling, and you were ringside for that match. And I wanted to ask you about that. How was it like to sort of work with or work in a match with Tessa Blanchard, because you were involved in the beginning of the match and the tear apart and all that sort of stuff. So how did
cool.
she's all right.
She's alright, man. Like, she's cool. No, she was great to work with. I was still a bit of a baby back then. I still am a baby in wrestling. Still very green, but I was really green. So that was a moment, like a time where I was still figuring myself out. I ditched the pink coat. Like, oh my God, what was I thinking? that was a doozy to wear. But yeah, I went through a lot of managerial roles before that match. I went through even announcing for Nui just to get my bearings with just crowd reactions and how to interact with them. So having her there was like really cool, but it was also a very teaching moment, I guess, just seeing how she reacts and how would I react to Tessa and how would I react to the rest of like the match and how would I react. It was a very fun match. I really liked that, and I was glad to have her back as well a couple months later just to be in a match with her, I guess. So she was cool. Yeah, that was fun.
I really enjoyed the match, and you just see how she really presented herself. Like, obviously, her entrance when she does in Impact Wrestling is very like the turnaround and everything like that. And on a smaller scale, she was still able to do that type of entrance and captivate that attention of that audience, and that is something that you see as a star. But were you able to walk away learning a lot from that experience of being ringside for something like that?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that with every match, actually. I feel like everyone should walk away from every match, no matter whoever's in it, with something that they've learnt. And I feel like that match was definitely a confidence booster, especially for being such a green wrestler at the time, or someone who hasn't even had a match at the time. And she was very cool. She was very fun, very easy to work with, even though I didn't work her. I was still in a match involving myself as a character, playing off with her. She was real fun. She even gorilla pressed me like backstage. I was just like, wow, you're really strong, Tess. Like, oh my God, put me down. Yeah, you'll never find me on top, right? I'll be locking you up on the bottom, like, I'd rather keep you than flip off. But no, she was really cool, really strong. Not surprisingly, but just like it was a bit of a shock going like gorilla press.
Yeah, I mean, you see some of the stuff she does in the ring, and you're just like, Jesus, that's scary. Like, I as a man, I would just be sitting there going, please don't hurt me. Like, and I'm a dude, I'd be like, please just take my money, to just leave me alone. Yeah, take everything. No, so you're obviously going through the managerial stages and the valet stages in wrestling before you started having a match. How long was it before you actually, was that much longer before you started getting in the ring, or did you do that for a period of time?
Yeah, it was definitely before I got in the ring. And I also, when I started doing matches, I still decided to have some sort of managerial role with some wrestlers. Especially with the Red Nation. I'm still the flag bearer of the Red Nation, I'm still happy to wave that flag for the Red Nation. So yeah, like for the longest time, like I was still some sort of managerial role or valet or whatnot before I even got in the ring, or even when I was still in the ring, I still had a managerial role. So it's learning on all aspects. That's how I see it. So I think the best way to attack wrestling as a pro wrestler is to learn every aspect as much as you can. I feel like managerial roles are very underrated. I feel like there's not enough managers. I feel like a really good manager right now is Nicky Van Blair. I think he is amazing. And he's very proud to be a manager as well, because he has the same ideas as me. Like, there needs to be more managers, because a manager can amplify a whole character on its own, So it's all roles are important.
I completely agree. The days of the manager have pretty much gone to the wayside, and you see like him here and there, but it's a very hard role to have, I think, because especially you're then the mouthpiece for that wrestler. Like, you should be the one obviously articulating, explaining what's going to happen, hyping those matches up, and also hyping someone else up as well. So it's a very important role.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I actually saw some of the stuff that you did because you were escorted, I think, Will Keatis to the ring during his IWA days. um, and so, what was it like to sort of, I know you wrestle mainly for PWA or predominantly for PWA, but you have sort of, done a few things in a couple of other promotions. But what was your time like in IWA?
I love IWA. I can't say enough about IWA. It's so fun. Oh, and Will Keatis, he's so annoying, but like he's like one of my best friends. So I'll do anything for him. But like he's so fun to work with. The IWA crew is just amazing. One of the best experiences I've had so far in wrestling is the IWA Summer Tour. Basically, we go town to town, just wrestling just for a new audience every day. And you go to the beach during the day, and you just relax, you have a great time. And then you go to the venue, set up the ring, and it's just so chill. And you're with your friends, and it's always after Christmas as well. So you have like such a nice Christmas break with your family, and then the week after you're with your friends at the beach and doing pretty much wrestling in different towns. It's the coolest thing. But IWA is top notch. Love IWA.
Yeah, IWA is one of those promotions. It's been around for the longest time, and always had a consistent good product. So we were talking before, how I remember going to IWA shows back in the olden days, in the early 2000s, and absolutely been blown away by the matches back then. So. But coming into working for PWA, like PWA is pretty much the hottest promotion in Australia for all of our American viewers. If you haven't seen a PWA show, you need to go see a PWA show. Like the production value, the quality of the talent is just on a whole nother level. I was actually just watching a PWA show before this interview, so funnily enough. So I was watching Call to Arms 2018.
Oh, cool. Good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
So I think it was Ugg and Jonah Rock in the main event. So yeah, I'm definitely enjoying that. But what are some of the aspirations that you have for your career, Kingsley, like moving forward? A lot of Australian wrestlers I've spoken to, some of them are mixed, where they'd love to go over to the US and the UK and Japan, and some of them quite happy to stay in Australia and really build a product here. Where's your mindset about where you'd like to sort of obviously see yourself in the next few years go?
Yeah, unfortunately there's a pandemic at the moment. So
I'm saying like, my questions are like no pandemic. That's what I mean. Like, yeah.
If there wasn't a pandemic.
If there wasn't a pandemic.
I would definitely want to do Shimmer and Rise. I was definitely looking into that until pandemic. But that's definitely one of my goals. I really want to experience Shimmer at least once, and experience talent overseas from other girls. But my main thing at the moment is just really focusing on myself and getting better and making the product here better. We have it really good, and I feel like people don't really realize how good we have it here. We have coaches who are world class, and they put in time and effort for every single person, and they want to see everyone get better. So why would I leave? If it's so good here.
No, I was probably more meaning like, to go over and do like a tour of the US or a tour of the UK. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Is that something that has sparked your interest in before?
Yeah, for sure.
Not including the pandemic, though.
Not including the pandemic. For sure. I definitely would like to experience something overseas. It's just not a top priority for me right now.
Sure.
But yeah, definitely Shimmer is like, if anything is overseas, definitely Shimmer. I definitely would like to look into the Japan scene as well. Going over there last year, it's such a culture shock, but it's a nice culture shock. It's a different world, and I would like to experience their different world of wrestling as opposed to mine. So that's also another place I would like to go back to. So yeah.
Oh yeah, Stardom is amazing, and they've had some amazing talents over there. It's just unbelievable. So, but you mentioned building the Australian product, and that's what a lot of the Australians are. Like, there is something special going on in Aussie wrestling in the last couple of years, and I think you have really seen a resurgence, or not a resurgence, but you've seen the quality of talent that have coming out and are getting worldwide exposure now from Australia. You look at some of the top names over in the WWE and obviously other promotions as well. Australia and New Zealand are really, really growing, and probably more so now than ever before. How does that sort of make you feel, obviously, as someone who's been, training for the last, or who's been involved in wrestling in the last 3 years, essentially, to now be seeing some of these guys that have really sort of worked their way up before you getting to that recognition and to that top level?
Yeah, it's really exciting, actually. I consider myself very lucky. I came at a very good time where like Australian wrestling was good, and now it got better. We keep getting reminded by our coaches, like, hey, it wasn't that good, back in our day, and we're just, you have it so good, but we're here to make everything better, with you guys, and it's very humbling, like, just knowing that our coaches went through so much just to have what we have now. So yeah, I think we're incredibly blessed to have the people that we have at PWA. And even with other companies across states, they have such good schools. Like EPW, Rampage are really amazing like promotions. They have great guys and girls just coming up, and just working with these people. Even in Melbourne as well, working with these people, it's just you can tell, like, the product is getting better and better. Everyone's really good. So
Melbourne City Wrestling is absolutely amazing. Like, I could sit there and just watch that stuff for hours on end. And like, you mentioned EPW, Explosive Pro Wrestling, Rampage, and the promotions in Australia are getting better. The quality of talent is getting better. And man, I just can't wait for the pandemic to finish so I can get out and start seeing some more live shows, because I'm like sitting there going like, just start back up again wrestling. So, for me, I can't wait for it to happen, and you guys are absolutely doing an amazing job over there. But, as far as your career now, like, what would be a dream match for you if you could pick any? All right, let me say this: if you could be in a triple threat match with any two female wrestlers from Australia, and then a second triple threat match could be any two females in the world.
Okay, cool. Definitely in Australia. Definitely Madison Eagles.
Of course.
Sure. Have to. And you know what? Oh, I feel like I've wrestled a lot of girls. You know what? I'll say this. Cherry Stevens should be everyone's new favorite wrestler. I'll say it right now. She is absolutely amazing. She, like, going in and out of training, like, she's there more than I am. And I'll say that right now. She works harder than most people, and I feel like she's going to skyrocket through the stars and become a star herself. So Cherry Stevens, you really, like, you have to keep an eye on her, because, like, she is so good. And I just can't believe, like, just doing like a little grapple with her at training, I'm just like, oh wow, girl, like, you were good, like, you got me there. Like, she is amazing. So she is definitely one of the top girls that I want to wrestle very soon and as much as possible. And Madison, obviously. But in saying that, there's a lot of Australian girls that are just so good. It's hard to narrow it down,
Yeah.
Like, I think even like wrestling Lena Cross, like, I think wrestling her, like, that was the moment where I went, oh my God, I need to pick up my game, because she is so good, and work harder than ever before. Like, people like her, like, they're great. Like, there's so many great girls. As opposed to the other question, worldwide female wrestlers. Oh, Melina.
Yeah. I was going to say, or if you wanted to make it an intergender match, you could have done that as well. Like, okay, so
I don't give a crap. In a car park, in the ring, in your house, in your kitchen, and fine. But yeah, Melina, she's the coolest chick. I definitely would wrestle her. Who else?
Melina's a legit badass, and the stuff that she's done with on NWA Power is like something even completely new for her, and it's been some of her best work.
she is like fine wine with wrestling. Like she just keeps getting better and better. She just doesn't stop. I think she's at her best right now. She is top notch. But yeah, Melina, I definitely would love to wrestle her. Who else? I don't know. It's just so many girls. I'm definitely a big fan of Io Shirai. Like, would love to have a match with her one day. One day. I'm busy right now, so
the pandemic.
Yeah, pandemic. But yeah, like I said, there's so many girls out there. Just I'll fight all of them. Give them all to me, you know.
That's it. We just need to start getting you booked, get the pandemic over. And see, the tea is not a gimmick, people. She's got the tea right there. So it's more than just a gimmick.
My favorite tea cup, actually, as well. Birthday present from Uncle Jack. So bless him.
There you go. Uncle Jack. So, and you know what? That's we're talking about. I saw that your Uncle Jack Bonza, that you teamed with to take on the prefix, and Jimmy was a guy that I had on recently a few weeks back, and he's quite a character. But I saw the promo with you in the coffee shop with the prefix, and that was quite how you're able to keep a straight face with those two. I have no idea, but that was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they're funny. I love working with the prefix. They always have some new idea to bring to the table, and they're just so willing to just put everything, right there and there. Just they commit. They absolutely commit to everything, to promos, to their match, just everything. And I just love working with them. They're so funny. Yeah.
So we have a comment coming in from Jude, the dude in London, saying, "Please don't fight anyone in a car park."
Look, he tells me every day not to fight in a car park. So, yeah, dating Jude is very humbling sometimes. He brings me back sometimes, like, no, you can't fight that person in the car park. What are you doing, Kingsley?
Well, you know what? Sometimes we need that person to tell us that we can't fight in a car park. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I tell my 2-year-old daughter all the time, I'm like, no, sweetie, you can't fight anyone. Like, we got to go now. So, so we have another question from Kyle coming in. He says, what do you rather, singles, tag match, or multi-person matches?
That's a very interesting question, because it's different perspectives, I guess, with different wrestlers. But I would like to do more singles in the future. I enjoy tags and multi-mans. It's just like the uncertainty of like who's going to get it, especially with like so many people in the ring. But singles, I would like to do more singles and just really show off everything that I can do. It's not really a preference. It's just what I want to focus on and providing to the product in the future. So I don't really have a preference. I like tags, I like multi-mans, and I like singles. So I don't discriminate.
Don't discriminate against the styles of wrestling. No. As far as like gimmick matches go and stipulation matches and stuff like that, have you had much experience in going in there and being in the gimmick style matches, like a tables match, ladder match? Or is that something that you've tried to avoid?
No, I don't avoid anything except for thumbtacks. No. Thumbtacks scare me. Maybe one day. But
whoa, there you go. You're gonna go ultra violent. So I
know, right? Oh, however, there was a match with just Troy and I. It was like a contract on a pole match or something during the IWA Summer Tour. That was fun. It's just, people think it's silly, but it's just so fun. Just trying to scramble for a pole and like grabbing something off a pole. I really like that match a lot. I really would like to do a steel cage match, actually, which might be a shock to some people listening in because I'm scared of a lot of things. But steel cage match, I'm just like, you know what? Just throw me there. Just smash me into the cage. That would be fun. Because I don't mind getting thrown into a barricade. So what's the difference between a steel cage? So yeah, that's something.
So another question coming in is from Joel Southgate, who asks, what was it like being on the same card as Jushin Thunder Liger last December? That's a very good question.
Great question. Thank you, Joel Southgate. Good to hear from you. Yeah, no, that was very cool. Very, very cool. It's just, who could say that? Like, how many people can really say, like, I was on a card with Jushin Thunder Liger, like, not many, I don't think. So, but yeah, that was really fun. Just being on the card with him, having the match, the tag match with sorry, I just croaked just then. Having a tag match with Jessica Troy and Madison Eagles, that was really fun. And even just appearing at the main event with Liger and the rest of the gang, waving the flag for Bonza and just being in the ring with him is just like, oh, this is pretty cool. pretty cool. So,
did you get a chance to talk with Liger after the match or before the card started?
It was just more of a hello, nice to meet you. Hope you had a good good time kind of thing. I had I think everyone was just kind of scrambling around trying to get their own matches planned out and all that. So trying to get everything sorted for the show. So yeah, that was a very hectic day. But he was very cool. He was very nice. From what I remember, he was very quiet, but he was the coolest dude. He's just so amazing to watch as well. So I think that was a very good experience for everyone in that locker room, just to have his presence, I guess, just there with them. So yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing in wrestling, and you hear it all the time. It's like the best way to get better is to learn from someone who's better than you. And, Jushin Thunder Liger is obviously one of the best that's ever done it. So to be able to say that you're on a card with him is amazing. And then to be in the ring with him as well would be even next level. So, it sounds like, you've definitely had a lot of good opportunities come in your career. And, you can definitely see from what I've seen, the talent that you have. Where's next for you? Like, have you got any goals, set out, like long-term plans, like where you want to see your career go, like where you want to get to?
Yeah. I mean, I would like to be in a title run or something, or going for a title at some point. But when the time is right, I'm not really rushing. I'm very focused. I'm still trying to discover myself as a wrestler. I'm still trying to learn new things, what works for me, what works for Kingsley as a character. So that's my main focus at the moment. I'm also focused on helping others as well. Like, I do gear designs and merch designs for other wrestlers. So I like to put my time into them and try to build their brand as well, as much as I'm building myself as well. So yeah, I'm a busy lady.
Wow. So designing as well.
Yeah, I do that too. So whenever I'm not training, I try to at least put something else into wrestling, and design work is one of those aspects that I put myself in. So yeah, that's me.
How did you get into designing gear? Was that something you started doing before you were wrestling, or was it sort of once you got into doing your own? And
not so much before wrestling. I guess when I was watching wrestling, I would always draw like gear for myself, or like for a wrestler that I liked. It was sort of like, there's something about wrestling that brings pageantry, I guess, and there's an art to it. And I feel like the little details like gear and entrances, it's all part of it. So helping people bring their vision to life with wrestling, with their gear and their how they come out with their gear made by PWA seamstress or someone else that they go to. It's quite rewarding, I guess, and it's fun too. But yeah, gear design and designing work, I guess, I tried to do that along with the managerial side and the announcing. When I wasn't wrestling, that was something I just started doing because I wanted to offer my, services, as much as I can and provide something to everybody. So just to help the brand, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, wow. So is that something you have a background in, as design as well, or is that just something that it was a passion that you wanted to sort of do for the wrestling?
Yeah, it was. I guess I don't have a degree in it. It was definitely a hobby.
Yeah.
I just like doing it so much in my free times. I was just like, well, I'm good at it. It's nice to recognize that I'm good at something. So let's put it into use.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, it was definitely a hobby that turned into something a regular service for people in wrestling. So yeah.
And that's the thing, you start off with a hobby and you can turn it into a business. You're never working a day in your life if you love what you do. Yeah. But we are getting to close to that 1 hour mark, guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we have. So, guys, if you do have any questions for Kingsley, do feel free to fire them in. We do want to be very conscious of her time that she's giving us for this evening. But, Kingsley, we're talking about, you designing some other people's gear. Whose gear have you designed that we could check out, who we can see?
Robbie Eagles. I've done his Bullet Club gear. Yeah, yeah, the black one. When he first debuted to New Japan, that was the gear that I designed. Currently, who's more recent? If you haven't checked out Lily Blaze from Rampage, the gear that she's wearing, I designed. I've also done Rochelle Rogue. Currently doing Rat Daddy at the moment. There's a few people like Velocities. Yeah, the white gear, the red, actually all the gear. I've designed that. So yeah, and there's a bunch of t-shirts as well that I've done. Or Kai Drake with his snake skin gear, I've also done that. I can list them.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you've decked out the whole roster by the sound of it.
Yeah. I try to be as efficient and available for everybody. Who's another girl? Oh, Shaz McKenzie. How can I forget Shaz? Like most of the gear I've drawn up for her. So yeah.
She's the main reason I got TikTok with Shaz McKenzie.
Really? Oh, she's great at it, isn't she?
It's hilarious. Like, she's absolutely hilarious. So we do have a question. It says, "Can't wait to buy my new Kingsley shirt from Wrestle Merch soon." We definitely have to, but as soon as they go up, Kingsley, make sure to send us and we'll promote that for you as well. We have another question from Facebook user. So Facebook user, if you want us to see your name, you can click the link, which is somewhere above here. Allow StreamYard to see your name. But he wants to know, what is your favorite flavor of tea?
I am a huge fan of peppermint tea. Classic, can't go wrong with it. And sometimes I like to be a little bit cheeky and chuck in a little teaspoon of honey. I was like, oh, nice, very good.
Living that gangster life, Kingsley.
Yeah. Yeah, nah. Very, very, very gangster. So yeah, that's my favorite tea. But I appreciate all tea, all flavors of tea. So can't go wrong. I don't think I've ever tasted a bad tea. So yeah.
There you go. The tea drinking wrestling superstar Kingsley. Guys, it has been almost time, but Kingsley, I just want to say thank you so much for giving up your time to do this interview. It's been a lot of fun. You've been great, and you also, I want to say, you have an open invitation to come back anytime. Yeah, no, the door is left wide open for you to come back anytime. But guys, we are going to start wrapping up. I just, as I said, want to thank Kingsley for her time. It's been an absolute pleasure. Guys, thank you so much for watching this show. We come to you nearly every single week, sometimes multiple times a week, to bring you some interviews with wrestling stars from around the world. And this week we've had Kingsley. Make sure to check her out on PWA. Kingsley, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you as well?
Oh, cool. So you can find me on Instagram. I believe I am Kingsley PW. PW stands for Pro Wrestler. You can also find Slice Threads on Instagram, which is my my designing work. All those profiles are also on Facebook. I am also not on Twitter. So if you see a fake account of Kingsley floating around Twitter, it's not me. So I'm only on Instagram and Facebook at the moment. So yeah.
Too easy, guys. And like I said, you've been watching Shooting the Shit Uncensored, and I just want to say a special thanks to our sponsors again, Mayan Belts, A-Rock Designs, and Signal Studios for making this show possible every week. And as I said before, go over to ProWrestlingTees.com and buy yourself one of the Shooting the Shit shirts or one of our many other shirts that we have going. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Kingsley, it's been an absolute pleasure. And guys, we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
Bye now, guys.